The M1 Macbook Pro came out in 2020, and at the time, it was a game changer. But now, in 2025, with newer Apple Silicon models on the market, is it still worth buying? As someone who's been using MacBooks since 2008 and upgrading every couple of years, I've got a lot to say. Let's get into it. What's up, y'all? It's Guy here, and I've been using the MacBook Pro ever since it came out in 2020. And ever since Apple switched from Intel and going to their own internal silicon-based chips, I've seen a dramatic increase in performance overall. I remember when Apple called me when it was released, and they told me that the closest M1 MacBook Pro I could pick up was about 2 hours away. And I had just got into the gym, took my pre-workout, was ready to get it in, and I was like, God damn it. But I was so excited, super stoked, that I literally left the gym, still wired on pre-workout, and drove 2 hours away just to pick it up. Once I brought it home, I was super excited. I unboxed it, and as soon as I powered it on, I can already tell the difference between this M1 Mac versus my previous Intel-based Mac. Which leads me into the discussion talking about performance and real-world usability. It's currently 2025, and since the release of the M1 MacBook, we've gotten the M2, the M3, and also the M4 series. But that begs the question, is the MacBook, the M1, still relevant in today's age since we've gotten 3 new chips since then? I am currently running the M1 MacBook Pro Max with 32 gigs of RAM and 1 terabyte of storage space. Even though it's just the M1 chip, everyday tasks such as web browsing, emails, and light productivity, the M1 MacBook Pro handles it with no effort. Having multiple browsers open, multiple tabs, multiple programs, the M1 just does it so easily. It almost feels as it's taunting you like, what else can you give me? If you're a student or professional, or just someone who likes doing everything everywhere all at once, this MacBook is for you. You're not gonna have any issues doing daily tasks. It's pretty much gonna be a perfect companion for you to essentially get your work done and not, stress about any slowdowns, any performance lags, and just do what you're meant to do. I've been doing photography and videography for over 13 years now, and one of my biggest pet peeves, slow computers. You remember Apple's Beach Ball? The one that kind of spins if you're doing something very heavy, intensive tasks on your computer? Well, I can say, with this M1 MacBook Pro, I'm not gonna say that it's completely gone, but I have seen it significantly less in this model since any of my previous MacBooks before. I feel like the only good thing that comes with that is that seeing that beach ball kind of reminds me to go out in the sun and go to the beach. If you're editing 45 megapixel images in Lightroom, this computer's gonna handle it no problem. You'll be able to add effects, color grades, filters, and it's just gonna run smooth. If you're editing 4K videos in DaVinci Resolve, adding multiple layers of color grading, multiple timelines, this computer's gonna handle it as well. And even in my experience, even editing some 8K projects, the rare times that does happen, it's able to handle that just as well. You're gonna notice a significant difference if you're using an Intel-based Mac while using any of these M series chips. And the crazy part, fans. I don't really hear them that much when I've used this computer. It's been very, very rare that I've heard the fans kick up. And like I said, maybe sometimes when I was editing those 8K timelines, and maybe some very heavy intensive 4K timelines. Besides that, that's been it. One of my favorite things about the M1 MacBook Pro, the battery life is still insane on this machine. Even after 5 years of use, I can still go multiple hours without plugging it in. At the time of this video, my battery max capacity is around 82%, but in real world use, I barely notice a difference with that. I'm still getting about 10 hours of solid use, whether if I'm, watching a movie or working on Word documents or doing some light editing, this thing just keeps going and going. Something I also loved about this computer was that this is the first laptop that when leaving the house, if I saw the charger just kind of, right there, I didn't feel like, picking it up or was just feeling kind of lazy. I felt comfortable leaving the house without bringing the charger. That's how efficient the battery is, especially on these the 16-inch model. It has the biggest, largest capacity battery that you can get, that you could even take on the airlines. And man, when I tell you, it's been so relieving just to, not worry about keeping it constantly plugged in, checking my battery percentage. I can really do a lot of just even photo, video editing on that creative end and just have that peace of mind knowing that my battery is gonna last. Overall, the battery on this computer is fire. And speaking of heat, the computer stays pretty relatively cool at the same time. Now, granted, if you're doing something like very heavily intensive, it is gonna generate some heat buildup on the machine, but something I noticed was that it wasn't too bad as compared to previous laptops. If anything, with the aluminum build of this machine, if you're just doing like some light work and you got the computer sitting on your lap, it just stays cool. Maybe even almost too cool. You might even put a little bit of blanket or have something in between your legs if it's on your lap, because that's how cool this machine runs. It's fantastic. And if history repeats itself, this Mac should still be getting updates for, I'd say, another 1 to maybe 2 years, because Apple likes to maybe stop doing software updates for older machines, probably around that 5-year mark. But with that information, it doesn't mean that your computer is just gonna be dead in the water. It's still gonna function just fine. I know a few people that were telling me they were planning on keeping their M1 MacBook Pros for about 10 years. So that's absolutely fantastic. So you're still gonna get plenty of life out of this device if you still wanna keep it for some time. Now, if you're someone that's very much into security and patches and just want maybe the latest updates for the Mac operating system, then maybe I might recommend going with probably the M2 or the M3 if you could find a good deal on that. But that's not to say this computer is still gonna be absolutely fantastic, for the next few years, I'd say. All right, let's talk about price. As we all know, eggs are expensive nowadays, so we gotta save as much money as we can. So with that, the M1 MacBook Pro is still going for very good on the used markets. I've seen prices range from around $600 to $1,200 for the M1 MacBook Pros. Compare that to if you were to get maybe a used M2 MacBook Pro, maybe those starting prices are looking around $900 to $1,600, or even with the M3s that I was seeing ranging around $900 to $1,800. So here's my advice. If you could find a used deal on an M1 MacBook and you could get it for around $1,000 or even less, buy that thing and run, because you just got a deal. Macs are known for their longevity. So if you were to meet up with someone, do your due diligence. Check out the machine, make sure all the hardware components work, the buttons, especially the ports as well. I feel like that's something that people forget to test out. You want to make sure you test out every port, the charger, the SD card reader, all the USB-C ports, even the HDMI cable. You just want to make sure everything is working properly, even though you might use it. And I feel like that's something that sometimes some people might forget to do, and you don't want to get home and realize that one of the ports is just not working. So make sure you do that. But if all those things are fine, the hardware is good, the software is good, man, you just got yourself a fantastic laptop still. So who should buy this? Buy the M1 MacBook Pro in 2025 if you need a reliable Mac for school and/or work, you prioritize battery life and a quiet, efficient machine, and you want a great deal, but you don't mind about not having the latest and greatest. Skip this MacBook Pro if you do heavy 3D work, maybe AI-based tasks, or just need the absolute best performance. Also, if you want the latest features, and plan to keep your Mac for at least another even 5, 10 plus years, 15 plus years, maybe go with one of the other models. So, is the M1 MacBook Pro still worth it in 2025? Absolutely. If you don't care about having the latest and greatest and just want a powerful, fast, reliable laptop, this one's gonna do it for you. And not only that, you're gonna save money on top of that. As I said, my M1 MacBook is still going strong till this day. I use it for everything. All of my emails, my work, my productivity, my creative work, and it just hasn't slowed down a bit. I'm surprised that I haven't upgraded, in this time, because usually I would have maybe upgraded about maybe 2 years from now. I'm just one of those people, I do like having something like the latest and the greatest in my specs of my tech. But with this one, I've seen the M2, the M3, the M4 series, and while those have, marginal spec bumps, nothing about them have really like garnered for me to go out and just like really have that one. I think I'm just really satisfied with my M1 MacBook Pro, and I think you will be too. It's almost as though Apple made too good of a product. I know, it's crazy, right? What about you? Are you still rocking an M1? Are you thinking about getting one? Are you thinking about upgrading from your current machine? Let me know your thoughts and comments below. I love to hear. And what would also entice you to get to upgrade if you were going to? If you like this video, smash that like and subscribe button. I'm super excited to be getting into this tech space, something I've been wanting to do for a while, for my love and my passion for tech. And if you guys are still here, I super much appreciate you guys still sticking around, and I will see you on the next one.